Hello and welcome. I mean, I guess.
Pick up. I'll just pick up.
All right. Welcome to year 2 of the Maryland Lacrosse Show. We're live right here at the Green Turtle. I'm here with Kathy Reese and Chrissy Thomas. And Coach, finally, after the long wait, the lacrosse season is here.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're looking forward to opening our season Saturday. We welcome Syracuse to College Park. It's been a great preseason. Our team's been working really hard. We've got a good energy and having a lot of fun. And this is a big unknown year. It's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together, but looking forward to kicking it off on Saturday.
And Chrissy, for you, on the offensive end, it really is an unknown. You guys have lost so many great players. What's it been like to rebuild how you guys are scoring goals?
Yeah, it's been exciting to bring some fresh faces in, to work with girls who I've been around, like Jordan Lipkin, and we're just excited to start over, have a little fresh start, and get it going on Saturday.
And Coach, Maryland's identity starts with the draw. You lose Shay. She's one of the best to do it, but you also lose Shannon and Megan. What has it been like to coach up a new group and get them going for the start of the year?
Yeah, looking forward to that part of our game for sure. We have 2 freshmen this year that will we expect both of them to take the draw in Kayla Gilmore and Devin Livingston. So those 2 will be taking the draw, new circle people as well. So there's just so many new faces in our program. We have 11 true freshmen, a couple red shirts, a lot of players that are finally getting an opportunity to see the field. And so there'll be, as we go through this season, a lot of new names we'll be saying as we get to chit chat and acknowledge for sure.
New names on the defensive end as well. You lose Emily and Megan. What have you seen in practice going up against kind of a new year?
Our defense brings it every day. They give us the most competitive looks, and they prepare our offense. So it's just been awesome. I mean, we have the best defense to go against, and so each game we go in prepared and ready for anything any other team throws at us.
And Coach, you lose Emily specifically in goal. She's been so good for this program. What have you seen out of the new batch of goalies?
Well, I think they've all started the season really strong, and JJ redshirted for us last year, so she had the opportunity to learn from Emily and really watch Emily's leadership, her communication back there on defense, how she organized and ran our defense, and so she'll be our starter as we go into this season. And so we have a freshman. We have a freshman goal. So we have 3 returning defenders who did have a lot of game experience last year between Nevo Farrell, Kennedy Major, and Sophie Hallis. So really relying on those 3 to lead the way with all the new faces that are around them, and so far so good. JJ's eager for the challenge. She's a great goalie. super energetic, all over the place, and expecting a lot from her as we go into the season.
And for you, Chrissy, Coach just talked about some returning players. For you, 29 points in the last 8 games last year. Can you kind of pick up the momentum from last year, despite the long break since you last played?
Yeah, that's the plan. We've had a break from games, but I've had my stick in my hand since that last game. I'm just excited to go into this next year with a great team and a great group of girls around me. So it's gonna be awesome.
And Coach, Syracuse was such a tough game last year, but now you get to play them at home. What does that mean to you, and how do you kind of evaluate that matchup to start your season?
Well, this has always been a great game. Maryland, Syracuse, we played them in a lot of Final Fours in the past, and their team obviously competing in the Final Four last year. They had a great season, and so being able to play in College Park, open our season here is exciting for us. We want to be at our facility with our parents, our friends, our fans out there. In the beautiful weather that we're anticipating for Saturday, it's going to make for a great environment. We hope a lot of people come out and cheer us on, but it'll be a good competition. You have 2 top 10 teams who are going to get a great game early in the season, and just kind of get to learn from that and see where we are and what we need to work on, and what we did well, what we can do to improve.
And for you, Chrissy, is it fun to go out there and play on an ice rink? Is that kind of the way that you've grown up playing lacrosse, or is it kind of a new challenge?
So I'm from New York, so I'm used to the cold weather, but we'll take any challenge that's thrown at us. There's nothing like playing at our facility at home, so it's going to be a great day.
And some of the new faces in the locker room, maybe they haven't played on an ice rink, so I guess a new look for them. But what do you think of the locker room this year? Do you like the personalities of the newcomers, and have they added to the vibes of the team?
Oh, absolutely. It's a whole. We graduated so many outstanding players last year, and a lot of strong personalities. And these guys have been a part of our program for 5 years. It's like Chrissy here, staying with me for another one. But they, had really just left their mark on Maryland lacrosse, and so now we have such a new vibe, a different group. A great group of leaders. We have 5 captains for this year's team, and so it's a different vibe, but it's a new energy, and people are excited to represent the University of Maryland, passionate about playing lacrosse for our school and with this program, and just looking forward to seeing what we can do when we put the pieces of the puzzle together on Saturday.
And for you, Chrissy, you kind of need to take over that role from Eloise, starting from X, and now you've got her sister to kind of work with you. What have you seen from her and her development?
Yeah, I mean, Maisie is like a little sister to me, so it's been awesome to play alongside her. I played alongside her last year as well, and she's just an awesome player in person, so it's been great.
And for you, have you seen any fun personalities that have kind of stuck out of this new group?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of different personalities, but that's what makes Maryland lacrosse so awesome. Is we're all different, but we all come together and we all find a way to have a good time wherever we are. So.
And Coach, every time that I prep, every time that I call one of your games, I kind of feel like the first thing I look at is, okay, who's the other team's coach, and did she play at Maryland? Did she coach at Maryland? It just kind of seems like all the time that's the case. You see that with Georgetown and St. Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to you to play those women, play against them, coach against them, and how nice is it for them to kind of come back home?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Once we get through this weekend, that's, as you said, our next 2 games in line. And Caitlin, not only did I coach her, but worked with her for so many years. So I'm so excited for her and proud of her for everything that she's accomplished, and looking ahead to know she's going to do great things with Georgetown. Those girls are in such good hands, playing for her. And then you move forward to the weekend. Alex Kay, who was my teammate in college for a couple years, and got to coach her as well. And then I'm so proud of them. I'm excited for them, and obviously when we play, we're going to compete, and we're all in to do what we need to do as Maryland. But when that game ends, cheering for them to have successful seasons as well, because love them both. Great people, great coaches, want the best for them for sure, but also want to beat them.
So Chris, have you thought about coaching? I mean, it kind of seems like it's just this easy highway. You go to Maryland and people are going to want you to take over a team. Have you given that any thought?
I don't know. I haven't really given what's beyond this season really much thought, but I mean, it's awesome. Eloise is my best friend, and she's now at Georgetown, so it's really cool to see everyone go on and just spread the love of lacrosse. So.
And we talk about Maryland alums, Coach. The other day I was scrolling through Twitter and I see Aurora Cordington, that insane goal in the WLL. What can you say about that league and kind of the state of women's lacrosse as a whole right now.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool for them to be able to launch that and kick that off this week. You know, our Alex Ostholman is one of our coaches at Maryland, and she's playing in that league as the captain of the Charm team and coached by Taylor Cummings, who's one of the all-time greats to play here. And with the list of alums that they have, they're great players who have come through our program, but more important, awesome people. And so they're having a blast playing together and getting to connect together. And you know, I'm really hopeful that they can take care of what they need to take care of, so I can go and cheer them on Sunday. But they know they need to win the next couple games to be in that situation. But I do know that there's relationships and bonds that they make here as players. There's something that's really special, and that's special about this place. So they love each other. They love what they do. They're having a great time competing, and it's great for women's sports.
Do you feel that pressure about how just special this place is, and how, well, I guess, how does it feel to play for Maryland for another year?
Yeah, it's amazing. Playing for Maryland has been the best thing and decision that I've made. It has just brought me so many friends, family members now, and I look back at the last 5 years and I can't believe what a great decision it's been. It's been amazing.
So glad we kept her for another
Yeah,
year,
and
right?
I'm so happy to be here for another year.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, Coach, you know, you kind of have a little bit of an extra weight going into the season, but I kind of feel like that could also be a good thing. You know, with so many new pieces, you're trying to work everybody in. What is the last 2 weeks of extra time with your team kind of resulted in?
Yeah, I think we're really learning a lot about each other. And you talk about the new people we have. We only returned 30% of our scoring from last season, and so that's how new we are. And we're going against a team that was in the Final Four last year when we kind of kicked things off. But I think there's a lot of unknowns about Maryland. We're not very high in any poll. There's not many expectations. You know, a lot of kids listed as preseason All-Americans or Jordan list nominees, and that's unusual for us. But it's a great spot to be in. Let's go. Let's fight. Let's show what we're capable of. Let's show what we can do. We've got a group that's hungry, and we're getting better every day. You know, we've seen that in practice, and that's something I've been really pleased with. So will our game Saturday be perfect? No, but are we going to be better than we were last week? Yes. And will we be better in May than we will be Saturday? Yes. And that's kind of the trend that I love what I see so far, and I love how hard everyone's working to get there.
Yeah, and working hard, I think, is kind of something that's, you know, expected at Maryland. And you have been here for a while, and you've seen the way that things are supposed to be done, and you've seen so many leaders before you. Is there anybody in particular that you kind of modeled your leadership after?
I think every leader I've had has been really awesome and done things a lot differently. Kathy is a great example of how to be a leader, as well as, like, you know, Grace Griffin was one of my captains, and she was really awesome, and she showed me how to lead with just like poise, and she was a really great player in person. So
I'm going to chime in on that.
Yeah,
I feel
go
like these guys, everyone's kind of finding their own identity right now. And we talk about leaders. I have, what do we have, 3 junior captains? 4. And you?
2.
Corey? Kennedy?
Corey,
No.
Kennedy,
Jordan? 4.
Yeah, 4.
We don't know what year anybody
I'm
is,
like,
which is
red
fine.
shirt.
4 junior captains and Chrissy. And so these guys are learning about themselves. We're kind of figuring out who we want to be. You know, so Chrissy has had people that she has learned what to do and what not to do from. And I think that's part of life. That's part of growing up. And I think for these guys to step out with the youth that we have on this team and try their best and be open and vulnerable to get better every day, it's the path that we're on. And it's something that's really pretty cool.
And, you know, one of those leaders, Jordan, you mentioned her earlier. She wasn't really able to do much last season, but now she's coming back. And she's a player with a lot of experience. What do you think she brings to the table in the offensive end?
She brings a lot of things. She brings her vision. She brings her game sense, her experience, and just she's really fun to play with.
And Coach, for you, you still have Corey coming back for another year. She's been so great. She's scored so many goals. For you, you at least do have some returning talent that you could really build off of. What have you seen out of her in kind of getting this new group to gel?
Yeah. Well, you know, Corey's one of the few players with a lot of game experience. And so I have a lot of returning talent. They just haven't had the chance to get on the field. And so that's why this year is even that much newer, because you have all them with 11 freshmen. But, you know, Corey coming off of a U20 championship, a world championship, when they were in Hong Kong this summer, really just gave her a different perspective on things. You know, she was an all-world defender where she was playing midfield and attack for us. So that growth for her, that experience has helped her kind of it has helped her as a leader, has helped her as a player on the field, and as a two-way midi for us. We have her back playing in the midfield this year, so looking for her to lead on both ends of the field and obviously through the midfield as well.
And for you, Chrissy, do you think that that versatility that she mentions with a player like Jordan is really important and something that kind of applies to everybody this year when you lose so much?
Yeah, I think we've all learned a lot through the years that we've been here. Like Kathy says, there's a lot of returning talent. It's going to be really exciting to see how everyone steps into their new role and how we can take this offense and defense to a new level.
And I kind of think that when one side gets going, especially in game one, do you think that's going to lead to everybody else just kind of getting back into the swing of things pretty quickly?
Well, I sure hope so, but I really I really want us to just compete. We've talked about two of our just non-negotiables, our effort and our attitude. And I want these guys to come out and play hard and compete, and we're going to make mistakes. I mean, everyone does. How we kind of respond to them and what we do the next play is going to be crucial to our success. And so I'm going to see where we land, but we'll be prepared and ready to go for sure.
Absolutely. And one last question for you, Chrissy. It's Syracuse. It's another big game. Does it get any better than that, kind of being at the top of your sport?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than competing and wearing Maryland across your chest, especially starting out at our facility. It's so special playing on that field, surrounded by all the Terps and family members, and so yeah, there's really nothing better.
Well, Maryland's going to take on Syracuse this Saturday, as of now at 11 a.m. on the ice rink over there at Flex. So tune into that one on Big Ten Plus, and we will have Coach Tillman and Eric Spanos next year from the Greene Turtle. Welcome back to the Maryland Lacrosse Show here at the Greene Turtle. I'm joined by Coach Tillman, Eric Spanos. Coach, 2-0. Well, in your first two games, how have you kind of felt about how this season has started?
It's early. There's a lot of new faces and guys in new roles, but it's been a great group even since August. It's been a very unselfish group, a very connected group. We're still learning about our guys and kind of what they do well and how to set them up for success. So we're still a work in progress, but they've been a joy to be around. Again, a great group, supporting each other, challenging each other. We're getting really good leadership. So we're excited about what's ahead, but realize, nothing's easy at this time of year, including the weather.
Obviously, Eric, you guys lost a lot, but you're coming back and you're down on the road at Loyola. That's a tough place to play in the elements. What changed going into that fourth quarter to allow you guys to get back into that game?
Yeah, certainly. That place is definitely very hard to play. We've, mentioned that a lot going into the week. We knew what we were getting ourselves into. And I think during halftime, our coaches made great adjustments. We had some guys step up, and we offensively just started, going a lot harder, picking the tempo up. And I think a lot of our midfield presence really picked up, so that was able to free guys like me up and guys like Daniel Kelly up for good shots. And you're able to bear it.
And Coach, to get the offense going, I guess to give them time to get going, the defense had to hold it down. What did you think of that unit and how they've started the year?
Yeah, obviously, if you can hold a team in single digits with the shot clock in this era, that's an accomplishment. So give credit to all those guys down there. Obviously, Coach Bernhardt, Coach Obransky do a great job. And our scout team did a really good job of giving those guys the looks of Loyola. So while we were not kind of doing what we want to do all the time on offense in the first three quarters, to be able to not have to dig ourselves out of a bigger margin was huge, holding them down. And again, by them kind of keeping it manageable, it was a matter of time before these guys started clicking. And again, what I loved about it is no one panicked. Everybody stuck together. No one tried to do too much. But when there were opportunities, guys like Eric definitely stepped up.
And for you, Eric, just piggybacking off of that, does that give you confidence when you see that group rolling at the other end of the field?
Yeah, definitely. When they're able to get stops, we're able to have the ball a lot more, and that just instills a lot of confidence in us. And it also just, at times lets us just be able to have that foundation to fall back on, so we can just keep playing, keep the ball flying around on our end.
And Coach, you have a new number one this year. He's on the defensive side of the ball again after a long run of offensive guys. Is the culture of Maryland kind of shifting towards, obviously the offense is there. It can come alive at the right times, but the defense is really what we can be proud of.
Yeah, I think everything's cyclical. I was talking to a friend this morning, and that number one's been worn by so many good players, and at the alumni gatherings and things like that, guys will come up and say, "Hey, I was a goalie, I wore number one," and some other guys as well. So we got onto a little bit of a streak with the O guys wearing it, but I do think. Having Michael Phipps and Jesse on staff, we talk a lot about what number one means, and it's definitely much more than a high-scoring player or a talented lacrosse player. With that comes great responsibility of kind of living up to be the best, and just so happens the last three guys have been on the defensive end. But I think they're great examples of guys who live up to try to be the best person, student, player they could be. Logan's no different. Certainly we have some other options, a guy like Eric as well. But I think, having been here a little bit, I think everybody really believes in Logan. And I think anybody that's been around him kind of realizes that guy when we think of Maryland and everything that we want our guys to be, he exemplifies that.
And from your perspective, again, I know you're on the offensive side, but what have you seen from the leadership in the number one?
Yeah, Logan's always a guy you just know you're getting every single day. Logan's steady Eddie. He's always smiling. He's always competitive. He also always just has your back. And I think that's one of the biggest things we can always fall back to on Logan is he knows the perfect times during practice. If I'm not shooting the ball well, he'll come up to me right away. He'll let me know, hey, you can do X, Y, Z better, and then, kind of give me a tap on the back and tell me, good, you got this. I think that's one of the biggest things about him.
And that's kind of that team, mentality, and that's how you guys play. And I mean, when Logan clears the ball, you see it from the bench. You kind of see that fight, you see that fire. And when a guy makes a play, no matter where they are on the field, you guys just seem to really get fired up for him.
Yeah, I mean, some of the saves he makes, can't say I've ever seen him before. It's pretty insane, to be honest. He'll make a save lying on his back, and just I think that serves our whole team well. And the fact that the bench gets fired up, we're getting the ball back. We have some juice now, and I think those are really big plays for us.
And for you, Coach, we talk about winning the ball. That starts with the faceoffs. You lose Luke Weirman, what a great player he was, but I think that Sean and Shea have really kind of stepped up and filled that role. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, we've always kind of prided ourselves, going back to 2016, of having a group of guys. We call them the Hog Pen, and you kind of need 4 different guys throughout the year. It's amazing, and because of the nature of that position, guys get dinged up. So you might be down a guy for a week or two, or maybe a couple guys are nicked up. So all 4 of those guys are critical, and they get after each other every day. And that's really, I think, how they develop and how they get better. We have 4 guys that we could utilize. I think we're confident in all those guys. Stylistically, they're really different. But I do think for the guys returning, a guy like Shea, you go against Luke Weirman for 3 years every day in practice. That's a lot of quality reps to try to get you ready. And I think for those guys, the biggest thing has been just be the best version of you. You can't try to be anybody else. Obviously, Luke eventually evolved into just one of these great players and guys that, a guy that everybody's going to remember for a long time. But, he was definitely a guy that was a little under recruited and developed into that. So I think it's a great teachable moment for all our guys is just keep working hard, invest, and, dream big and put the time in, and let's see what happens.
We talk, Eric, about the juice of, when Logan makes a play, but I remember against Richmond, when Sean wins the faceoff, he takes it down and scores. What does that do to your offensive unit?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a huge boost for everyone, not just offensively. We can get one of those, kind of stolen goals off the faceoff, or whether that be transition. Those goals are huge for us, and everyone's kind of just picked up this new sense of confidence. If we have our faceoff guys scoring, anyone on that wing unit, it definitely just gives us a huge boost.
And Coach, with the offense, you lose about 60% of the scoring, but you bring in a few new guys as well. You have some guys that have maybe had smaller roles really step up. What have you seen from those guys up top?
Yeah, just a really unselfish group. A group that, the guys that we brought in, whether they were, freshmen right now or whether they were somewhere else last year, everybody just wants to win. And they want to do their part in whatever way, they can do that. They're happy to do it, whether it's, playing attack or midfield, playing anywhere on the field, playing with different guys. So when you have an unselfish group like that, it's a lot of fun. Just because I know the guys will do whatever the team needs, and there isn't a lot of selfishness. And sometimes when you recruit really good players, sometimes the ego comes with that, and I don't see any of that with that group at all.
And you're a part of that group. What have you seen from these 2 new guys kind of playing a really, really big role in this offense, and how have they really come onto this team and made an immediate impact?
Yeah, kind of like what Coach said, their biggest thing is just winning. Whatever that entails, whatever they have to do, they're willing to do it. If their role was to not play and we were winning, I could almost guarantee you they would do that in a heartbeat. And I think that's like kind of the biggest thing about them is like even on the field stuff like that, off the field stuff, they're willing to do whatever it takes. They're always in there getting their extra work, and I think it's just been huge for us. And also, I think it will also show some of the younger guys that like really what it takes to be on the field and like to achieve such a big role like that. Those 2 guys.
Absolutely. And Coach, you see Keegan get the overtime winner. Maryland last year, you guys were great in overtime. What is it once you get to, that part of the game that you guys can really succeed?
I think our guys feel like ticket prices are too high. So I think that's one of the reasons they want to play extra. I think for our guys, we try to simulate a lot of situations in practice that we could be in. So we definitely will in practice, play 1-goal games. So basically just go out there and it's a game to 1, but you're essentially simulating first team wins, right? So we'll do that as early as in August, where the guys get out there and it's basically overtime, right? You go out there and first goal will win. So you want to be smart. You want to have a plan. You want to get organized. You may have to get a stop. But just kind of knowing that if the other team scores, it's over, you kind of are already in that mindset of, all right, we are in overtime. So you hope it's not the first time they felt like they're in that spot. And I think that's a big part of practice is trying to replicate what you're going to see on game day. But again, good. I'm just happy for Keegs. I don't think he felt like up to that point he had the game he really wanted, but he didn't flinch. And I think everybody just rallied behind him and just stuck with him. And he had the confidence to go to the goal and take the shot, which sometimes you can get a little gun shy. So that's a credit to Matt. But I think what's probably most impressive is, he just didn't feel like that was his best performance. And, he was ready to get after it after the game. Like, all right, it's not just about that one play. It's the body of work, and I want to get back to work and play better next week, which to me is pretty awesome. There's a guy that's really not focused on me. He really wants the team to succeed and the offense to play better.
And Eric, you've been here. You've been a part of these overtime games. And do you think that winning a few in a row kind of gets that confidence up that, hey, look, we've got the ball. We can go and win this game right now?
Yeah, I mean, definitely don't necessarily want to go to overtime.
Oh, no.
You want to win the game in regular time. But when we do get these overtime situations and we win, I think it's definitely, like you said, some confidence in there. But it's also just, way motivation for the next weeks. We're like, all right, let's just win this game in the regular time. We're not going to overtime. We'll win it just there.
And kind of piggybacking off of that, you get that goal in overtime, and you got the goals when you needed to get them to get back into the game. What can you say about kind of that clutch factor of the offense of you guys get going when you have to?
Yeah, we definitely, like I said, Coach made great adjustments, Coach Phipps as well. And we were just we had a heightened sense of urgency during that third and fourth quarter, especially the fourth. And we were just like, now's our time. We have to go. If we don't, we're unfortunately going to lose this game. So I think that was kind of our mindset.
And do you think that one goal really starts to lead to another and another once you kind of break that seal?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, whether it was me or someone else, I think just for us seeing one go in the back of the net, it raises confidence of everyone. And everyone's like, I can do that.
When you talk about goals going in the back of the net, Coach, you got Q's coming up this weekend, and what an offense they play. I'm on the call for Plus, so I've been watching all their games this year, and it just kind of seems like they're allergic to just scoring typical goals. It's going to be behind the back, through the legs. Ben Thompson, I mean, he's got 7 goals. I don't know if he shot overhead once. I mean, it's just such a fun offense, kind of different from Maryland's, but at the same time, how are you going to prepare the defense to see so many different types of shots?
Yeah, we'll kind of do what we do every week. Obviously, when you have the number 2 team in the country and you kind of look at the stats, and certainly all our guys are well aware of what they've been able to do. They're super talented. Pat March does a great job with the offense as well as Gary. They have the right guys in the right spots. It seems like it's almost the same team they've had for 3 years now in a lot of ways. A lot of guys back, so very comfortable with each other, kind of knowing each other's strengths and playing off each other. So they've gotten the ball a good amount, so there's a lot of comfort there. They always play well in the dome, always a tough place to play. So for us, it's a big KYP game. It's like knowing their personnel, know the personnel you're going against. Knowing what they like to do collectively, individually, and obviously we got to be, very on point defensively. We got to communicate well. They obviously, a lot of their guys are pretty strong-handed, but they're very talented and they're very capable. Much like Finn, he can kind of use his backhand just like a lot of guys can use their offhand. So, we've got to make sure that we are really on point. And again, when we get back there, we're organized on what we're doing, because if you don't stay on top of them, they can definitely make it look silly.
And for you, Eric, we talk about Syracuse's offense. They kind of take all the headlines, but this is a Syracuse defense that's off to one of the best starts they've had in years. What do you see without giving away too much in that matchup? And are you excited to play in yet another big game in Maryland?
Yeah, any game in CQ Stadium is a big game for us, just protecting our home turf. And looking into Syracuse, they're definitely a great defense, but I think we're a great offense as well. So I think the biggest thing, is just sticking to our game plan, trusting the guys that are on the field, and trusting the coaches as well.
And for you, Coach, you kind of talked about knowing the personnel and being familiar with guys, that you're playing. There's only really one new team on this schedule compared to last year with Delaware. What a big win they had, by the way, this weekend. But you have kind of the same teams every year, and they're really good teams. You've got a gauntlet coming up, but it seems that you've played. It's guys that you've seen. Why is it so important for you to keep that consistent schedule?
I think you come to Maryland because you obviously realize how important lacrosse is to the university, the state, the alums, the fans around here. It's unlike any place that I've been, and it's so important here. And on top of that, we try to play the best teams for a lot of reasons. One, we've always done that. I think when you're a young recruit, you want to play against the best, and you want to play at the best places. Those are exciting things to do. But I also think it gets you ready. Obviously we're eventually going to go into league play, but that preseason with the scrimmages, scrimmaging in the fall, Cornell, who's a top 10 team, Georgetown, Duke, then two teams that we have a lot of respect for, Richmond, Loyola, getting us ready. Now you're playing a top 5 team. If you play against good teams, you kind of realize maybe, hey, where do we fall short? What do we need to do? What do we need to do to get better? I think sometimes when maybe you play a team and there's a decided advantage with some talent, sometimes you can get away with things. In teams like this, you have to be buttoned up. You have to be prepared or you'll get exposed. So I think there's a lot of value to that. Win or lose every Monday, we get in, we kind of look at the things we did well, the things that we didn't do well. And then we try to build upon those things, try to figure out what can we do better. I think the best thing about Loyola is I think we, especially offensively, it was a good blueprint for us of, okay, if we play this way, we have a chance to be successful. If we play this way, it's going to be really hard. And again, sometimes the games show you that. And I think the guys know the formula that will help this team be successful, and we just got to stay on point with that. But we have such an unselfish group that I think the guys will do what they need to do to win. So we've seen a lot of improvement already this week.
100th season there with Maryland lacrosse. And we just talked, Coach, about big game, big game, big game. It's just kind of one after another, and it's been like that for 100 years. What does it feel for you to put on that jersey, knowing that you've had 99 teams that have come before you?
Yeah, it's definitely an honor, and just to honor everyone else that has played and put that Maryland jersey on. You go out there every time, every practice, whenever you get to put that penny or jersey on, you just know that what everyone else is given. Like, for example, Coach Phipps and Coach Bernhardt, they both played here. They know what it takes. They show that Maryland pride, and every time you put it on, it's just a reminder of everything they've done and everything they sacrificed. It just makes you work a little harder.
And Coach, you talked about just how important lacrosse here is in Maryland, but sometimes things can be a little bit more important than lacrosse. And with Syracuse, you have 15 for life. That's something that you feel so strongly about. How is that so special to you? And what's your message, I guess, to the guys leading up to that game and that cause?
Yeah, I think when we recruit guys to come in, obviously, when you're young, you're pretty passionate about lacrosse, and you realize that's a big part of their decision. But we definitely sell making a positive impact on other people and developing as the whole person, and that's really important to us and always will be. So somebody like 15 for Life, that organization, it hits home a little bit with us and Syracuse. Steve Cavavit obviously is an alum of ours, and he's very much involved with 15 for Life because he lost his brother who played at Syracuse. So for us, it's supporting one of our own. But also, when you talk about 15 for Life, they really do talk about some of the challenges these kids go through these days with mental health, and it's a real thing. And I think it's important for our guys to realize that they are going to go through some challenges. Life is hard, but we'll always be there to support each other, and it's okay to not be okay. You just need to talk to each other, which is a very hard thing for young guys to do sometimes. It doesn't make it weak. It actually, to me, it allows us to connect and help you guys. And that's really important for our organization.
It's a great cause, and it's a great game. Maybe the biggest of the weekend in the world of lacrosse. Maryland and Syracuse at 2 p.m. on Saturday, live at Big Ten Plus. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for tuning into the Maryland Lacrosse Show, live here from Green Turtle.